Trades.com. Today we have a special guest with us, Chris Anderson. Chris is CEO of Great Atlantic Resources. Great Atlantic can be traded as GR on the TSX Venture. Thanks, Chris, for being here with us today.
Well, thanks for having us on the show here, Jeb.
Chris, can you talk to us about the metal antimony? Can you tell us a little bit what it's used for today, the applications, and some of the supply-demand fundamentals?
Yeah, absolutely, Jeb. First of all, GR is focused in Atlantic Canada, and there's a couple of prominent metals that come out of Atlantic Canada that are high on the British Geological Chart for being the most sought-after commodities on the planet, and that's tungsten and antimony. And we've been focusing in that space. And what we've been doing over the last 18 months is assembling what we could in the antimony and tungsten space on the east coast of Canada, which, by the way, recently has just been nominated this year as one of the most mining-friendly regions in the world. So narrowing it down to antimony, there's the two largest producing antimony mines out of North America and outside of China have pretty much come from Atlantic Canada. And that's the Lake George antimony mine, which is now shut down. That was in central New Brunswick. And the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine, which is in central Newfoundland. And there's some recent news on that, which I'll update you on. So what Great Atlantic has been doing is we've been out there because those two mines are the largest, have been the largest producers. We know that area is prolific with antimony. And antimony, just to kind of give you an indication of what some of the key factors about it, it's in the top 3 of the critical elements being sought after on the planet, according to the British Geological Chart. There's like 8 years known supply of antimony, and China pretty much dominates that entire space. And antimony is used in our everyday lives. A lot of people don't even know it. Its primary use, 57% of the market goes towards fire retardants. And so when you're sitting in your car seat or you're walking on your carpet, antimony is probably a component that's incorporated in all of those different elements and fabrics. And it's also used as a catalyst for making polyester clothing. A lot of people don't know that as well. They build these big multi-million-dollar polyester plants in China, and to speed the process up of processing polyester by about 18 times, they have to use the mineral stibnite, antimony stibnite, to do that. It's used in plastic bottles, and more commonly known in history, it's been used, and which is still used today. It's used in batteries, and now it's been incorporated into some of the new technologies. So you see antimony as an essential component in making touch screens and semiconductors. It's got a war component too, much like tungsten. It's used in ammunition, and of course, it's used in ceramic and glass. But the primary use is in fire retardants. And to date, there is not any economic replacements for that. And the antimony market has just been getting tighter and tighter. It's one of those elements that, even though we've been going through these turbulent times, if you look at the price chart and the demand on antimony, it's gone from, basically from $1,000 a ton up to as high as $16,000 a ton, and now it's around $12,000, $13,000 a ton. And they're still projecting that by 2016, it's looking at 2016 is looking at $20,000 a ton on the upside. So it's a very, very critical, essential metal. We use it in our everyday lives in very different facets, and it's hardly ever talked about. It's an easy element to mine. It's stibnite is it's usually found in a vein system, and you crush and grind it, and you can ship the ore directly like that. There's not complicated metallurgy on it. One of the other nice components that we like about antimony as well, Jeb, is that usually it's a lot of geologists look for antimony and traces of antimony before they find gold or silver. And a lot of antimony mines do have a tendency to be associated with gold or have gold as a byproduct. And one of our projects that we're focusing on, that is exactly the case. So that's a little bit about the market and a little bit about the fundamentals. And I don't know if you want me to update you on a little bit of news that's happened recently with the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine, Jeb.
Yeah, Chris, let's go into that. Can you tell us? It's interesting that China, Hunan Nonferrous, a Chinese company, is operating the Beaver Brook Mine. This is right close to one of your properties. Can you tell us more about this Beaver Brook operation and where Great Atlantic fits into that?
Yeah, well, we operate in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. And so what we've been doing over the last 18 months is assembling the known on-the-radar scale antimony assets that we could get our hands on as a junior within the confines of our capital structure and what we had as our resources. One of the assets that we picked up was the extension of the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine. So the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine, which was bought in around 2008, 2009 by a company called Hunan Nonferrous. They set up a subsidiary in Canada, and they acquired the only producing antimony mine in North America. The Beaver Brook is one of the largest. It's in central Newfoundland. It's one of the largest producing antimony mines outside of China, and it's the only producing antimony mine in Canada or the U.S. And Hunan Nonferrous moved in, set up a sub, and acquired the Beaver Brook, wholly owned subsidiary of Hunan Nonferrous, acquired the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine. Great Atlantic we recently, over this last year, acquired the extension of the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine, the geological extension. There's been very little limited work on there, but we see much promise in there. And then we've gone around and assembled up several other antimony assets. 2 weeks ago, the TSX just approved our deal with the Beaver Brook Antimony project, and like days later, or that day, I can't recall exactly, the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine announced that they were shutting down because they ran out of ore, and they're going to go on a major exploration campaign. So we had already made a decision that we were going to focus on our West Gore antimony gold project in central Nova Scotia, and that's right on trade route from the Beaver Brook. Beaver Brook, I don't know if you know this, but they actually mine the ore in central Newfoundland. They truck it down to the coast. They take it over by ferry to the coast of Nova Scotia. They drive it right down the center of Nova Scotia, right past the West Gore Antimony Mine. And when they get there, they turn left and go an hour to the Halifax port. It goes in the deep sea port and over to China. So the West Gore Antimony Mine, which we're going to focus our efforts on this year, is 1 hour from the same port that's currently has been exporting all the ore from the Beaver Brook Antimony Mine and directly on trade route. So there's as of the last couple of weeks, there's been a little bit of flurry of activity. The group that, from my understanding now, they're looking at extending their exploration efforts in that region. They've got a full facility there that they don't have any ore on, Great Atlantic has the extension of the land position there beside the Beaver Brook, and we also have the West Gore Antimony Mine, as well as many other assets, but the West Gore Antimony Mine that's right on trade route, and only an hour from the Halifax port.
Chris, talk to us about some of the technical personnel that Great Atlantic has on their management team and the years of experience in Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, well, myself and our VP of Exploration, Don Black, we were involved in a project out in Atlantic Canada, and that's, primarily how we got focused out there. Great Atlantic has taken over a decade of human capital and relationships and encompassed those in Great Atlantic. Don Black, our VP of Exploration, and myself, we worked on a project called the Sissenbrook Project, and that has now been taken over by a company called the Hunter Dickinson Group, and it trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the symbol NCF as Norcliffe. That's on track to be one of the largest open-pit tungsten mines in the world. They're currently going through their final feasibility stages, but the projects look quite feasible. So that's just one of our experiences in the region. Another gentleman on our team is a gentleman that's joined us and been an advisor to us, and actually delivered us another project in Nova Scotia called the Lansdowne Project. And he originally delivered that for the anticipation of, he's held that ground for somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 years, and his name's Avard Hutchins. And Avard was recently written up in the Canadian Mining Journal a few months ago because he's personally found 3 mines out there in Atlantic Canada. There are, and the project he delivered to us was the Lansdowne project. That's got 2 past-producing antimony pits that we don't have any data on, but he was holding it for the potential for gold and tungsten skarns. And we've done a fair amount of work on that over this year, but we'll be addressing that later on. The other gentleman that's involved with us, a pretty significant role, is a gentleman named George Murphy. And George worked very closely with a gentleman named Mac Watson out of Free West. And for 30 years they were out there. He's made several gold discoveries out there, and he's well known. He's well respected as probably one of the best prospectors in all of New Brunswick, and he is responsible for the what's now Hunan Downing's new gold deposit in Wolfton that just set up in New Brunswick, and that's called the Clarence Stream deposit. The Murphy Zone, which is George's discovery there. He also had another gold discovery up near our Kemet project, which is called the Winston Resources, called the Elm Tree deposit. And so we've got what we wanted to do is we wanted to start off with a team of guys that all have experience at finding assets in Atlantic Canada. We wanted to focus on that region, and we wanted to narrow in on our commodity space. And we're chasing the commodities that are the most sought-after commodities on the planet, according to the British Geological Chart. That's antimony, tungsten, and we've included gold. And what we've done is we've taken that experience, and we have several assets in the company. The non-core assets we've made available for other companies to step in. So we're building what's called a project generator model so that we can funnel some of those assets off, take our experience, funnel them off, and use the funds of that to continue doing our exploration in the commodity space that we want to focus on. And so that's kind of where we're at now. Our team is I'm one of the younger guys on the team, and I'm in my late 40s. So that should tell you something, I guess. We got a team of guys that all have had a track record of finding assets out there in Atlantic Canada. So our short thing is we're working in the number 1 mining region in the world, Jeb. Mm-hmm. We're chasing the top sought-after commodities on the planet, antimony, tungsten, and gold. And we've assembled a team of guys that all have a track record at finding assets.
Well, thanks, Chris, for being here with us today and for giving us an introduction to Great Atlantic and its story. Thank you.
No problem, Jeb. Thank you for having us.